Welcome to the webinar. I am Rohit Mathur, co-founder of FieldWorker, along with Prabhat, Vaish, my founder and partner, and Bill England, who some of you may already know, who is the founder and CEO of Disability Services and Advocacy, based here in New Jersey. Also with us today is Anne Mathur and Sunny Nair from the FieldWorker team, customer success team. And we are all here to, hopefully make it a valuable session, 1 hour for 45 minutes or so, to talk about FieldWorker and how Bill England's DSNA is utilizing products in his company to grow and succeed. So we want to keep this very informal and as interactive as possible. So please feel free to type in any questions you might have in the chat window or the Q&A window. We are happy to answer as we go along, or even take it up afterwards. We are very open. We want to have it as interactive a session as possible. So some background on us. My only sister is developmentally disabled. Both me and my co-founder Prabhat have personal family experience with disabilities. So we understand the world you live in and the world you work in, and some of the difficulties and challenges you face. We also both come from technology backgrounds. Prabhat is a professor of computer science. I have run technology projects as well as companies in the past. So with that combination of technology and disability, that is what has landed us at FieldWorker here, in large part that has brought us here today. We have known Bill for a very long time, and he has been a guide for us and told us, given us a lot of insights into the functioning of service provider and support coordinator organizations, and his guidance has been invaluable for us. His company is now using FieldWorker extensively as well. Overall, the idea behind FieldWorker was to build an easy-to-use platform that service provider and support coordination agencies or anybody who's providing services to IDD individuals and their management employees can use to make their day-to-day life easier and help them do a lot of their work in an easy-to-way guided format. So today we are going to do a short brief on FieldWorker, show you how it works. Bill is going to talk about how he's using it in his organization. And Bill is going to talk from the point of view of support coordination agencies, but I know that in the audience today, we have organizations that provide services that do support coordination, and we cater to both in different ways. We are going to talk about operationally. Bill is going to talk about how he's using the company, but basically, we are making things easier for you by consolidating all information in one place. We are helping you be audit ready, make the day-to-day life of your workers, care providers, care coordinators who are out in the field or in their offices providing services easier, provided you guided interfaces to do things, and overall centralized documents, information, etc., so that you have access to everything you need and do your job as quickly as possible. So we are going to do, Bill is going to talk about how he's doing this in his company. We are going to go into actually show you how it works. Sunny is going to do that. And throughout this process, feel free to ask us questions or anything that you may need to know. I'll pass on to Bill for a brief thing. Bill, would you like to add something?
Sure, I'd love to. Thank you, Rohit and Prabhat. I met Rohit and Prabhat a few years ago when they were exploring trying to use their IT backgrounds and their exposure to intellectual developmental disabilities from a family basis into a business and an IT platform. And as many of you probably have heard, I have built my organization with an IT focus. I have my own programmers, but I realized that to gear up to the next level of technology, I really couldn't do it with the programmers that I had. I needed to partner with a company that utilized the latest handheld technology and software concepts. And when Rohit and Prabhat started talking to me, I quickly realized that their platform offered a great opportunity to really bring what I've done to the next level. I have been capturing time of my workers and incorporating that time capture, but I really wanted to create a way to integrate the time activity and the billing with creating the monitoring tool, because the monitoring tool is the primary billing document for us in support coordination here in New Jersey. So when DDD came out, and FieldWorker had already been working on an EVV platform when EVV got introduced a couple of years ago, and it worked to develop relationships with providers in providing EVV software. And then when DDD, and I've been talking with them saying, hey, I think there's an opportunity in support coordination to develop a platform, an IT platform in support coordination. And it really got exciting when DDD came out with its new monitoring tool. The requirements to create the proper tool are very onerous using a Word document and are difficult for a coordinator to process, increasing the amount of time exponentially. And, you know, I was hearing the groaning from my own employees about it. And, you know, I went to Prabhat and I went to Rohit and I said, hey, I think this is the opportunity to really explore providing an IT solution through support coordination. And so we've been working very diligently over the last 6 to 8 months to come up with a integrated platform that would not only provide an opportunity to create a monitoring tool document that is easy for the support coordinators to complete, because we're actually using the download that's available to support coordination agencies from iRecord and uploading it into FieldWorker, and then providing the ability to pre-fill much of the monitoring tool. And with utilizing the questions and how to complete the questions, and how some questions determine what sections need to be completed or don't need to be completed, utilizing the IT platform to properly format and utilize those sections based on prior answers really has expedited the process. We have been working the last 2 months live with about half of my support coordinators. And we are really seeing some real significant advantages, both in terms of the time it takes for the coordinators to complete the monitoring tool, but also the quality of the monitoring tool because of all the checks that the IT platform provides on the online system. It creates a Word document, just like DDD's Word document, or you can have a PDF document that you can upload into iRecord. So it's very exciting. My people are excited. We've been having MT Provers review our monitoring tools for 6 years now. It is extraordinarily expediting the review process. And so that's been quite advantageous. For people that don't have reviewers going and utilizing it, the fact that all these checks are occurring online to make sure the monitoring tool is completed properly will really make sure that you have a real audit-ready monitoring tool. You know, even if you didn't have reviewers reviewing it, I think you'd have a good quality. We do have reviewers. We verify that the contact has occurred. We ask for either screenshots of the actual call from the coordinator's phone, that we verify that, yes, they spent time talking to that phone number that's now on the monitoring tool, or sign-in sheets when the person visits the person. So that's a good audit check for us to show that we are trying to prevent fraud on the part of creating monitoring tools. So the long and short of it is we've been able to create good monitoring tools that have then been able to have the ability to do billing online and incorporating the prior authorization that comes in. So you have a complete IT platform that not only captures the time that the person spent, verifies that the documents that are being created are audit ready and prevent fraud, and then have a system that captures the billing item, merges it with the prior authorization, verifying that, yes, you did complete the monitoring tool for that month, or the initial plan was created. Keeping track of people that do program switches so that you change to a daily rate versus a monthly billable. And then if people leave you for whatever reason, they pass away or they switch to another support coordination agency, you then only do a daily billable to the date that they leave. So you really have an all-in-one platform that captures everything in one fell swoop. On top of that, you also have reports that the system can capture. So you can keep track of the renewals, making sure that your renewals are done on time, that you don't have lapses in plans. We've been utilizing that concept for a number of years, and it's been incorporated into FieldWorker. We literally, I think we had one plan that was late, and we have about 1,300 consumers. That's over a 2-year period. So having these tools to really keep track of your business, make sure that you aren't making mistakes, you have audit ready products and services, it's really been invaluable. My people are loving it. They love the speed with which to create the monitoring tools, the fact that all this stuff is preloaded. They don't have to check iRecord to verify that they have Medicaid and things along that line, because it all comes from the download. I mean, it really is an advantageous system. So that's enough. I will let it go back to you guys, and you can go on with the presentation, Rohit.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bill, and thanks for that and vote of confidence. And if again, I'll just reiterate, if any questions, please feel free to ask. Bill is here. We are here to answer any questions that you might have. Just to add a couple of things to what Bill already said, in addition to what he said before I hand over for actually showing you how this works. Bill has spoken from a support coordination point of view, talking about monitoring tools, that we have a guided process to create the monitoring tool, which flows directly into the billing process, which works really well. But in addition to that, we also, if you are a service provider and you're providing a certain type of services to IDD individual, the billing module works for that as well. We capture time, we keep track of all the information that you need to capture, we centralize all the documents that you need to capture associated with that, contacts, customer lists. All this information is centralized and flows seamlessly through the billing as well. So we go to NJMIS, direct, seamless, saving you time on the resources and effort that you need to put in to check and balance everything out. We do all that for you. On top of that, give you reports to show progress through the payment system, correct errors, do validations and all that. So without further ado, I will hand over to Sunny Nair, who is going to now show you some of how this works. He's going to show you the product. He's going to take us through the MT part, but if again, you are a service provider, the MT may not be relevant for you, but the billing part will definitely be. And you will see an overall feel for the product as well. Over to you, Sunny.
Thank you, Rohit. Good afternoon, everybody. I'll just share my screen. Give me 1 second. Yes, Rohit, can I get shared?
I see. Yes. I have not allowed Sunny to share, so now you should be.
Yes, so this is my screen. Can you see? Can everyone see the screen?
Yes, I think.
Yes. Okay, great. So, good afternoon. We have 3 designations on our system. We have an admin, a manager, and a support coordinator. I would be walking you through all 3 designations. We will start off as a support coordinator. This is our login screen. Once you click on the sign in with Microsoft, where the product is completely HIPAA compliant, we also use 2-factor authentication. So your employees would receive their unique user ID and password, which they would then use to log into our system. So I'm going to be logging in as Scott, who is a support coordinator for this example. Once I log in, this is the support coordinator screen. We have customer name, the month, the current month of the program, and various client information that is visible to the support coordinator. All this information is preset when we perform a DDD sync. A DDD sync is, as Bill mentioned, the import from iRecord onto our system. So all you need to do is export the file from iRecord and import into our system. That will create your clients and all corresponding information regarding the client, like the NJCAT score, the tier information, as well as the plan information of plan end date is the information that we capture. So in order to create an MT for a client, the first step would be to create a timesheet. Our system is configurable, so in case you currently do not collect time, and we also have initiate a one-click MT, which does not have the timesheet step. So I'm going to be creating an MT for George. In order to create an MT, all I need to do is click on the timesheet option, enter in a task title. So I would say MT visit, select a task type. So it can either be a phone call, home visit, and this again is configurable according to your agency. So if there are task types that your agency currently utilizes, we could add it in that dropdown. To then record the time spent on that task and save this information. This creates a timesheet visit. You can then now link this visit to create an MT. So in order to link this, I will click on a link to MT button and the form comes up. When we open the form, we have the quarterly and the monthly MT present here. So your support coordinators can choose to either create a monthly or a quarterly monitoring tool. We have follow-up comments. So any follow-up comments that were added in the previous month shows up here and can be used as a reference while filling in the monitoring tool. Certain sections are in color blue. So any section that has been completed and does not require assistance is blue. Coming to section 1, most of the client information is pre-filled, and this comes in from the DDD sync that we do. That is the file from iRecord. The questions are drop-downs. Your support coordinators can select this drop-down, and based on the answer selected, the flow of the form is then activated. So for example, if it's a phone or video contact, I need to enter in a phone number. Once the section is completed, the section turns blue. So for example, if I complete this section, you'll now see section 1 turning blue. So that means section 1 is completed and I can move forward. Section 2, we also carry follow-up items from previous months into the next month's MT and until they are resolved. So any follow-up items that have been added by your support coordinator would show up in the next month. For section 3, any question that includes an asterisk requires a comment or a follow-up. When your support coordinator select an option, for example, I say no, they would be prompted to enter in either a comment or a follow-up, until which they would not be able to submit that question. So for example, if I say cancel, it still has them answer that. So most of the system validates the monitoring tools before they're submitted ahead for a review. We also have the save and close option. So your support coordinators, if we've completed certain sections and then have to take care of something, they can save their progress and come back. Once they log in, they can then complete the form from that step where they had left it. So the save and close option does help. Going out, I have an MT that I had completed. So as every section in this MT is now answered, all the sections are blue. I can then submit it for a review to the approver. Click on submit. I say yes. So once the MT has been sent for approval, this is how the screen would look. This is all your support coordinator would have to do in order to create a monitoring tool and submit it for a review. I will now be logging out as a support coordinator and logging back in as a manager. So John is the manager. He would be having his own user ID and password, which he would use to log in. Once you log in, this is the manager screen. A manager can approve empties for support coordinators as well as have their own caseload. So if they have their own customer caseload, they can create empties and submit it for approval as well. Scott Dixon was the support coordinator who we submitted the empty for. When you click on the support coordinator name, the manager sees a list of all the approved, rejected, or empties that have yet to be reviewed. In order to review an empty, the empty approver can click on the review button. They can then click on the form, and the completed monitoring tool would show up. Your managers can make sure everything looks right, and if it does, you can either approve or reject the empty. We also have documents. So if you collect sign-in sheets in order to verify the visit, your managers can also have a look at this document that has been submitted as a sign-in sheet for this client before approving or rejecting an empty. So they can approve an empty and click submit. That empty is now approved, and the support coordinator can download it in order to upload to iRecord. In case of a rejection, we also have comments that can be added by the manager. So if there is a rejection and there needs to be a change, you can mention it in the notes, and this is then visible to the support coordinator. I will now log out as a manager and log back in as a support coordinator to show you the download process. Yeah, so I sign back in as Scott, who is the support coordinator. And the empty for Damien should now be approved. So this empty that said waiting for approval has now been approved. Once it has been approved, your support coordinator can click on the approve button, make sure there are no comments added. And in order to download the form, all you need to do is click on the empty form. And we have a download and a print option. So the download gives you a Word document, and the print is a PDF document. So when I click on the download button, a Word document is downloaded to my local machine, which can then be uploaded to iRecord. So let me just also show you the Word document. So this is the Word document that would be downloaded, and your support coordinators can then upload this document to iRecord.
So Sunny, your Word document is not visible, I think.
You're not sharing that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think it's my bad. Yes.
Yeah.
So this is the Word document. Sorry for that. This is the Word document that will be downloaded and can be uploaded to iRecord by your support coordinators. So that are the steps that your support coordinators would follow in order to create, approve, and download a completed empty for every client. I will now log in as an admin of the company and walk you through steps for billing, as well as the DDD sync and the reports available. So this is my admin account. And this is the admin home screen. We have the DDD sync option present here. So this is where you will upload the file that you download from iRecord. And once you click import, we set up your client information, your plan information, as well as assign the support coordinators their own caseload, as well as managers to their support coordinators. An admin himself can also be approving empties and have their own caseload. So they can also create monitoring tools. We now go to billing. So in billing, we have the claims dashboard and the charge capture option. So the charge capture is where you would upload the pre-auth CSV that is sent to you. So for today's example, I do have a pre-auth CSV. It is the template that comes in directly from DDD with the prior authorization number, the service period, as well as the Medicaid ID and the amount for every client. You can upload the file directly onto our system. Once the file is in here, we get the client, we match the client to the monitoring tool document. And as I had approved the monitoring tool for Damien, I can view the document. So it'll be the complete document. Once everything is been completed, that claim is now fileable. You will just click on the claim and click the select fileable claims option and send it to the claims dashboard. So the claims dashboard has all the service information. So once the claim looks good, you can then click this claim and send it in order to be billed. Once we get this file, we submit the claim. We've integrated with NJMMIS. So we electronically submit the claim and you be paid the next following week. So any claims coming in before Friday would be paid by the next week, Friday. So this is the billing module. As if you do not have a prior authorization file, we also have a manual process, which includes creating a template in the same format for your clients. You can keep the template the same and just change the prior authorization column and the service date column for a client. So that makes the billing on a monthly basis easy. We also have add a single claim as a manual process here. So for example, if you have just one claim that you bill for, we have a single claim option where you can create a claim for any client. And then with this, we have reports that are available to the admin. So for example, when I go to reports, we have the billing transaction report, the claim balance report, any outstanding billing report, as well as claims collection report. For the status of the claims, we have the claim status column. So as your claims are submitted, so for example, if I send this ahead for billing, this then changes to release. As soon as we get updates from NJMMIS, this is updated to the most recent status of the claim. So once it's paid, this will change to paid. In case of a denial, you can then change this in, then edit the information on that claim with the right information and resubmit through the claims dashboard itself. So we keep track of denials. So any claim that has been a denial would be resubmitted by us until it has been paid for. So the reports for billing as well as the claims dashboard. We now move to reports as a whole. So as an admin, you have reports for billing. You have access to reports for billing, as well as administration and timesheet reports for your employees. We have a department report, that is the NJ department report that we run, as well as a plan renewal report. What the plan renewal report is it gives you your clients whose plan information or plan end date is in the current month or in the next month. So it does help to plan ahead with the client. So for example, I have Jackson whose plan is expiring in this month, and then 31 other clients whose plan would be expiring next month. We then have an empty completion detailed report. This is what an admin would use in order to get a status of all their support coordinators, their manager, as well as clients. So it gives you an idea of support coordinators of the client's MT, in which state they are, whether they have just initiated the process or they have approved an MT. So for example, when I go to Scott, as I had approved MTs for Damien, it would say approved or submitted. So waiting for approval means it has been submitted by the support coordinator and waiting for an approval from the manager. We have the management review report. So the management review report is basically a list of all follow-up items for your clients. So any follow-up items that are added in the monitoring tool document would show up here. This report is also available to your support coordinators, where they would see their whole caseload, as well as follow-up items for any of these clients listed. You can also export any of these reports as a CSV or a PDF. We also have an active customer report, which is the whole caseload of your agency, and then a task report, which gives you information of the time collected for your employees. We have timesheets and case manager. So all of these reports are available to an admin and can also be viewed by as a support coordinator. So the support coordinator does not see the billing information or the plan renewal or the MT completion. It's just the management review report that would be accessed by your support coordinators. So that is FieldWorker as a whole. We have the monitoring tools that can be submitted, approved, and downloaded for being uploaded to iRecord. We also have billing. So you can do billing through the prior authorization file or through a manual process of creating the file, and then reports which are accessible to your admins and managers. Yes, any questions?
That's great. So this is would love to hear your questions and thoughts on this. So please feel free to type in your questions in either the Q&A or the chat box. That'll be wonderful if you have any questions on this. This is also built through a seamless process from beginning to end, where people are from both your workers' perspective to management or supervisors can operate all their activities through the platform. You get a consolidated view into what is going on for every for your entire caseload or your entire agency to address these. So this is there are a few questions here which are very good. How does this apply to EVV billing? So that's a very interesting question. I'm happy to take that question. So basically, we have so a couple of things. We have a mobile app component to our platform as well, and the mobile app gives you the functionality for people who are out in the field to record EVV. We do a simple one button check in, check out, where it records all the required information for EVV. Now, the way it works in New Jersey is that this EVV information flows through to the aggregator that New Jersey State has appointed, and all that information flows through that aggregator, which is a company named HH Exchange. So we act as a front. The information flows through HH Exchange, and you get paid directly. So effectively, from your perspective, you record an EVV visit, whether and it flows through for payment directly to you. That is how EVV is recorded and paid for. So the EVV billing process is not through NJMMIS directly. It is through the aggregator where the information goes through.
Yes.
Prabhat or Sunny, you want to add anything to that while
Yes,
I look at
just to add to the EVV process. Typically, EVV, you would be billing through HHA Exchange. So it's an automated process from your employees' end. All they would have to do is check in and check out. We set up clients, plan information for these clients, as well as information like the diagnosis code, the procedure code, because that then helps us get the billing rate. And all the prior authorizations are present on HHA. We send your visit details to HHA with the actual check-in and check-out time. And it's an automated process that runs every hour. And once the visit is in HHA, it is billed for and you get paid the next week. So any visit on HHA on our system recorded before Wednesday would be paid that week. So that's how the EVV process flows. We have a mobile app, an iOS as well as an Android mobile app. Your support coordinators would log in. They would have tasks created for their clients. We have a new task option here. It would not be a timesheet. It would be a task with a location. So when I create a new task, I would have to add a location, which is typically the client's address. And your support coordinator, your employee would only be able to check in and check out to the task when they are at that client location. So the application does not allow them to check in or check out when they're not at that location. So it's geographically driven. Once we have this visit information, we match it to the client and send it forward to HHA for billing. So that would be the EVV process.
Right. So just one quick thing to add here is that we did not show the EVV. The Sunny did not show the EVV, but
Yes.
if you have more interest, definitely feel free. And I think we can have a one-on-one conversation. But two key pieces of information here is that there's a mobile app that the person in the field will be using to capture date, time, and location that is needed. And I think that's probably one more question that was out there. How do we know which telephone number was used? Because the app is running on that specific phone.
Correct. So this answers another question, which was related to how it is connected with the phone number and how it is validated that number was actually contacted. So there is another part to this. Hopefully this answers your question around the phone number that is connected. If not, if you meant something else, please feel free to ask again. There's another question which says, will you share more information about the sync with iRecord? Is it automatic or only when you select the option? So Sunny, do you want to
Yes. Yes.
that other?
Yeah, so the iRecord sync is a manual process that is typically done by a manager or an admin of the company, and it can be done on a daily basis. It can be done on a weekly basis. We typically suggest a weekly DDD sync to be ran for every company so that we have all the information just like it is on iRecord with the latest changes, if any, for plan information, because then that also correlates into billing. But the DDD sync is an admin's task. They can do a DDD sync. The first DDD sync creates all the clients and the support coordinators. Any DDD sync run after that just updates information. So it is an admin can choose however often they want to run the DDD sync.
Bill, do you want to add how do you run your DDD sync process? That might be very useful.
Yeah, so I actually download right now, beginning of the week, or if we get new consumers, or if we are transferring consumers between support coordinators, I would run the DDD sync so that I have the information correct in iRecord as it is, correct in FieldWorker as it is in iRecord. And so that is basically how I run the sync. I don't have, it's not a difficult process to do. You know, you can select all records very easily and download them and then just upload them directly into FieldWorker in the DDD sync button that they have up there. And it's very easy to identify the file and upload it. And it goes through the process, it uploads it, it tells you how many records it accepted, and you're good to go. And if there's any that aren't accepted, you identify, you know, what the problem is and then correct it. So and generally I don't have records that aren't being accepted when I upload it. So it's working out very easily, very nicely. There's not a lot of issues going on with it.
Great. Thanks. Somebody asked if support coordinators are required to use EVV. No, we are not saying that. And Bill can add to this. Support coordinators are so far not required to use EVV, but our system works for service providers as well as support coordinators. So if the EVV part is specifically meant for people who are providing services and are required to do EVV, and we cater to that from the EVV service to the capturing of information perspective to the billing part as well. But that is a service provider pathway. For support coordinators, they are not required to collect, to do EVV, but they are required to do monitoring tools. So hopefully that answers your question around the EVV. So support coordinators are not currently required. Bill, do you want to add to that anything?
Bill, I think you're on mute. Yes.
Bill, you're muted.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay, very good. Sorry about that. Yeah, the EVV service is for providers that are designated as requiring EVV. Support coordinators are not required to do EVV at this point, so we don't have to bill that way. But you have to think of FieldWorker as a full service IT platform that's providing information technology both to support coordination providers, but also non-support coordination providers, such as community-based supports, you know, individual supports, and things along that line. So anybody that's required to use EVV can utilize FieldWorker's platform. In addition to now, they have expanded to being able to provide Medicaid direct billing to providers of services, both support coordination services, but also non-support coordination services. So they are becoming a full service IT platform. And that's what making it attractive. With some of the latest technology. And as we said before, they have a handheld that can be utilized. That handheld has an app on it that if you use their handheld to make a contact, that will enable the individual to have that phone number generated and reflected in the contact information that would then flow in to the field worker and can be viewed by the MT approver, the manager approving the MT, as well as the coordinator who created the contact. So that's where the phone number link comes in. You can also, if right now, if people call in to the coordinator and you want to use the call, what we've been doing for the last 5 or 6 years is we have people do screenshots of the phone call. So you have the phone number from the screenshot from your iPhone or your Android phone. You then create a document and we upload it into FieldWorker, and that document then is proof of what phone number was called. That proof document can then be compared with the phone number on the monitoring tool to provide proof that, yes, I called this phone number and I spent 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is, talking to the individual, whoever that individual was that is the contact person that's on the monitoring tool. So that's the link. And that's what our MT approvers sort of verify just to make sure that that contact actually occurred. And the same concept is for the sign-in sheets. The sign-in sheets that they get, they upload as a PDF document, or they take a picture of the sign-in sheet and upload it. And then it's uploaded, the coordinator verifies, yes, that's the right document. It's in FieldWorker now, and the manager who's reviewing can see that document and verify, yes, that visit did actually occur. That combined with activating the proof of the visit as also on the phone enables an EVV proof of visit. That proof of visit concept could also be used for the proving that the coordinator actually went to that location. So the combination of seeing the person, getting a sign-in sheet, and then proof that they actually visited that location from FieldWorker gives you double proof that, yes, that contact did occur. It prevents fraud and things along that line. I don't know if any of you have experienced this, but we have been able to see fraud. I've fired 2 people with significant caseloads because they forged the sign-in documents. Now I had the one I caught before we billed, so there was no fraud report. The second one, we had some monitoring tools that we had to give back because we felt that the person did not see the person. We did terminate the person, but this was our way of proving that we have fraud controls. So when the DDD or even our auditor that does auditing tries to prove that, yes, we have fraud controls in place, and we show them all the controls that we have in place, and they are very willing to sign off on our audit that, yes, we have controls. We have had, people, guardians question whether we did contacts. And we go to our contact documentation. We find the call log of when the person called the person, how long they spent on the phone at that phone number with the person. And we show that proof to the guardian that, yes, that contact did occur. And this is how long they spoke on the phone and things on that line. Once they see that verification, they calm down. So these are the types of tools that I think really protect a support coordination agency and protect you and to ensure that, you're going to not have problems with DDD or Medicaid or things along that line.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Bill. Moving on, right? There is a question which says, what happens when iRecord goes down? And that's funny, a corrected question, which is a better question, which says, how is your system affected with iRecord is down? So I'm happy to take a shot at it, or Sunny or Prabhat, if you want to take a shot at it. But basically, we do iRecord sync. So obviously, if iRecord is down, we cannot do the iRecord sync. But you can do iRecord sync anytime. So it comes up, you will get the latest information and updates into FieldWorker. So it's not something that you are dependent on. It is something that you can do frequently at the pace that you would like to do. Anything to add to that, Prabhat or Sunny?
So I would just kind of say to it, these are two separate systems with no interdependency or connections between it. So whether the iRecords is up or down does not affect your capability to use FieldWorker. The only connection between the two is via this DDD sync process, whereby you bring in the current state of data, whatever the data is in a iRecord, into the FieldWorker. And you can choose to do that whatever frequency you want. As Sunny suggested, that we advise once a week, but then if there are no changes, you could possibly do it on even greater frequency or lesser frequency, whichever the case may be. And I think that should necessarily answer another question here, which is each of these sync will automatically bring in if there's a plan change or if there's a change that may have happened or a tier change. Any of those changes which are available to you as part of the participant search download will automatically come into the FieldWorker. And if it triggers a new charge capture that was earlier referred by Bill and Sunny as well, will automatically be triggered as well and identify that you may have to not bill as a monthly charge, but two separate per day kind of charges because there's been a change in the tier or change in the plan or something of that nature.
Yes.
And another question, rebilling. We could bill on a weekly basis all the empties that are uploaded successfully. So that is correct. You can bill at the frequency that you choose and as your empties are completed. Prabhat, do you want to add to that as well?
No, that's fine. I think Sunny had mentioned it that
Yes.
I think you can bill from our system. You can actually submit even one claim, but the billing happens on a weekly basis in the sense that anything that you submit until a Friday will be accepted by next Monday, and then I think the payment happens on Thursday or Friday. Sunny, you probably know.
Yes, Friday morning, the payment comes in. Yes. And so typically when you have the prior authorization for that service period for the customer, as long as there is an empty created, you can then go ahead and bill for them. So if you have the prior authorization, the service period that you have to bill for, and the empty, you can bill on a weekly basis as well.
Yeah, and I think yes, that's good, and hopefully that answers the question. If there's a follow-up, please ask. There is a question which says that if an SC is partially working on the empty and iRecord goes down, then you can able to continue the empty in FieldWorker with all the corresponding information is available. So as Prabhat mentioned earlier, there is no connection between the two. When you're working in FieldWorker, you're completely independent of iRecord, and you can continue to work. You can do all your tasks, you complete your empties, you can submit them, everything happens, no dependency on iRecord at all.
Yes, most of this information, the client information, when you first run the DDD sync, is stored onto our system. So there is no, as Rohit mentioned, no dependency between or interdependency between FieldWorker and iRecord. So you can operate with the information you already have stored on FieldWorker and create monitoring tools for your support coordinators.
And I just maybe clarify for everybody that the syncing process is a manual download from iRecord. It is not an automatic, you're in FieldWorker and you can automatically update the information directly from iRecord. You have to manually go into iRecord, identify the records, and it's very easy. You go into iRecord, and I could almost show everybody, but and you just identify on the download the records that you want to download. You can be all the consumers that you have. You say, I want all the fields that are available for the download, and then you hit download. It downloads the file to your computer. You then go into FieldWorker and you upload that file into FieldWorker in the DDD sync function. So it's a two-step manual process. So the fact is iRecord is not down usually an entire day. So if you needed to do a sync on a particular day and iRecord was down for a couple hours, then you would work around it. A lot of times you know when it's going to be down. If it's down due to a problem on their end, yes, it may not be available for a few hours, but usually it comes back up, within the day. And then you would get into iRecord when it's up, and you would then do the download. If that's the day that you had set up to do the download, you do the download, and you then upload it into FieldWorker, and you're done. The process takes probably, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and is complete. It's pretty painless. It is not a difficult process. So, but what's nice about it is you have now set up FieldWorker and your coordinators so that they can easily complete this monitoring tool. This monitoring tool, as it's been updated by DDD, provides them a lot more information, but it is an onerous process without an online system to update and make sure that the information is preloaded. It really is cumbersome. So it really makes it so much more attractive. And then the other thing that really is valuable from a management standpoint is that you now have a way to create the billable item, very regularly. I would caution a little bit on the billable items on a weekly basis. DDD does say that we're supposed to, bill at the end of the month for monitoring, even though they'll give a prior authorization earlier. They sort of want us to complete the entire month of monitoring before we bill. I know a number of agencies don't do that. They bill as they go along. I would just caution that, DDD may come down on those that do that at some point in time, but they haven't done it. They haven't done so yet. But the one other thing is that if you claim something as a claim for a full month, and let's say the person leaves the agency, passes away, or the individual switches to another support coordination agency, or they leave the state or whatever, and that billable that you did for a full month, you weren't entitled to that full month. Now you have to, take that claim back and then just bill for a partial month. So same with program switches. Program switches that occur in the month, you're not entitled to a full month of $362.89. You have to do 2 partial months billings on the daily rate. And so if you're billing incorrectly and they do an audit and you didn't correct that improper billing, you could be, they take a look at it, and it could be a fraud, charge against you. So you got to be sort of cautious with, billing more frequently than the once a month. But having said that, I do know that people are doing it. So, proceed as you decide.
That's a great point, Bill, in the sense that what the process should be and what the product capabilities are.
Yeah.
So we are a general purpose product. We allow for various things, but the process should be what it should be. There's a question on recurring tasks and monitoring in a home care agency setting over periods of time. Prabhat, do you want to take that question?
Sure. And Sunny, jump in here as well. I think the question is about whether it's a 30-day, 60-day care. Now, one of the things among the several other things that Sunny could not cover in the limited time is that you can plan for the tasks for the entire year by creating recurring tasks at a fixed time interval every month, every 30-day, every 60-day, whatever the case may be. So yes, you can plan it out. You can actually have a complete calendar in front of you in the sense that what are the upcoming tasks for a specific client.
Yes. And just to add that, as an admin, you can also plan out your employees' tasks. So if you have the schedule for them, typically in an EVV setting, the visit is the same every week until the end of the plan. So most of the companies that we're currently working with have set up the schedule for the next 1 year for these for these employees. And if it's an EVV company, we do not send this schedule to HHA. It's only sent forward when your employees would check in and check out. So anything that happens on our system stays onto our system until it has been checked in and checked out by your employee. only then sent forward to HHA. So scheduling is all on FieldWorker, and it can be done as long as you have the schedule. You can decide what kind of tasks have to be completed. So it can either be a home or a phone call, and this information is then visible to the employee or the support coordinator.
Yeah, hopefully that answers the question that was asked. If there is any follow-up, please feel free to ask the follow-up. We are heading towards the end of the hour. So there is a question about costing, and I'll address that. The costing is, we have tried to keep it very, very cost effective for all size agencies. There are various components, so it is a little bit dependent on how many users and how many consumers you have, and the type of business you're running. Are you in the service provider business? Are you in a support coordination business? So we would be happy to talk to you about that. If you could reach out to us, to Anne or any of us here after this email. I'm going to drop our email addresses here in this chat, so that anybody who would like to reach out to us can drop us an email, and we are happy to take any questions that you might have which pertain to specifically your agency. We are happy to take those questions one-on-one as well. There are a lot of specific things that we have not addressed. Our product does many things, bills, companies also using many things. We focused on monitoring tool from a support coordination perspective and billing from everyone's perspective. But there are so many other things that we do, centralized documentation, tasks, checklists, reminders, case notes. We have a phenomenal case note capture system, which is very flexible and usable, which is being used by guardianship agencies as well, where case notes are paramount. So we would love to talk to you about all these things that specifically pertain to you. And we are happy to engage in that conversation after this call as well. I'm dropping my email, our email addresses here. You can reach out to any of us, and it's basically first name at FieldWorker.ai, and we are happy to talk to you about anything. We are exactly at the top of the hour here. We can, if there are any questions, any further questions, please reach out to us. Thank you again for joining us in this webinar and an engaging and positive conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.